Oh, hello, welcome back to the Lorethrough. Today we are handling episode 25, and I'm excited. It took a whole 25 episodes, but we're finally going to breach Stormvale Castle. But not immediately, because we have some cliffs to investigate for some tasty items. Alright, so here we see bird up in the tree. If we are astute, we can see more bird. In fact, I believe there might be 2 birds in that far tree, so there's 3 nearby birds. Very rude, but... Wow. Oh boy. Just, I hate fighting the birds so much, so I don't feel bad wasting mana to kill them. It's just so much easier. The damage is okay now. Thanks to this new staff we have some points in intelligence. Probably a tad over-leveled for this area, honestly. There we go. Was there an item over here? I think there was. Alright, on the other side of the gulf from where we started and where the summoning pool statue was. Just some bolts, not really worth it. I think it's worth going to the other pointed cliff where we saw the first 3 birds for the upgrade material, and that's about it. You could probably skip the 10 bolts and the bonus enemies. I feel like these set of cliffs I've co-opted and invaded here so very much. If you ever do like level 30 invasions, this is a very common area. Level 30 invasions with plus 3 weapons, 25 to 30, you get here a lot. So we will sit down. We'll have ourselves a grand old time. Is there a weapon I need to show off? No, not yet. We will in just a moment, though. We'll have weapons to show off. Alright, we're gonna finally get to some lore today. The Marred Leather Shield being one of them. So that guy's normally supposed to blow a horn to signal his allies, right? But, the enemies, his allies got alerted anyways, so... Makes me wonder if he started frame 1 of the animation before the noise played and alerted everybody anyways. Not sure. Oh. Rude. Goodbye. Farewell. They fall for a good while. My goodness. Okay. Finally, we get into the Stormvale Castle, though. We seem to be in this servant's quarter. See fellows that look like a stock, but they have both arms, short sleeves, and swords. So first things first, let's look at that Marred Leather Shield we just found. And then we can look at the other things. The other equipment of the enemies we've just slain. Excuse me. Leather shield of Stormvale soldiers. Much like the castle, it is marred by mottling and thorns. Some say it is the curse of grafting which causes such affliction, while others talk of its root being something altogether more sinister, hidden deep within the castle. So we'll have to see if we can find somewhere deep within the castle and deal with that accordingly, or discover the truth. I'm rambling horribly today. Okay, and now let's take a look at the armor. So, Exile Hood. Deep red hood that covers the whole head, worn by soldiers sent to the penal colonies who were required to keep their faces hidden. And it looks like their armor reads much the same way. But it seems interesting that they wear red, have to cover their faces, and they are soldiers sent to penal colonies. Makes you wonder if they were themselves prisoners or if they are simply to maintain prisoners. So we've seen Godric soldiers, we've seen Godric knights outside in Limgrave and around the place. But inside this castle, the closer we get to him, his foot soldiers change. They are these penal exiled soldiers, right? So it makes me wonder, are they of superior training? Or is he keeping an eye on them? Why are they here close to him and not his other kinds of soldiers that he has? At the top here, we see a bunch of barrels. They explode. I'm going to make some more of these because they'll be helpful. And he also is covered in thorns. He's got a crescent axe. There we go. Hook claws. Let's take a look at those for a brief moment. Weapon worn by the first weapon worn on the fist, comprised of sharp parallel blades, favored by those who lurk in the dark. Lacerations cause blood loss with great effect. Claw weapons come in pairs, and two-handing this weapon will equip it to both hands. It seems like a rather cumbersome thing to have for somebody who wants to wield it in the shadows, right? Doesn't make the most sense to me. You feel like a dagger would be more appropriate. Claws just seem like they'd get in the way of your hands if you're sneaking and skulking about. More barrels to explode. Over here to loot. But we don't have to take on this guy in the hallway straight on. We can actually head out this pockmark here, and we find St. Trina's arrows. Have we found any of those before? We have not. Arrow carved to resemble a withered water lily. Afflicts targets with powerful sleep effect. Priests of St. Trina use these arrows to spread their teaching. The sweet oblivion of sleep can become quite the habit. Interesting. So it's shaped like the Trina lily. If I were to take a look at it, here it is. It's vaguely shaped like the Trina lily, which we learn is a symbol of faith in St. Trina, dulls the senses, preventing agitation. Oh no, he dropped an item. It's gone now. We're never getting that back. Oh, up here is where we shot that soldier with some magic. He didn't notice us. He dropped a smithing stone. There's supposed to be a fellow right here. He threw pots at us earlier. Did he fall off? What on earth? I'm going crazy. Oh. Did you wander over here, buddy? I thought there was another fellow over here. Well, that's probably who that was. Well, we have a missing suspect on the loose. Alright. Yeah, we'll keep using this weapon, actually. I kind of want to show off Lion's Claw, so we'll do that. I still light roll, right? Good. Okay. Or medium roll. So we go into this door. We can hear a door being locked behind us. And here we see our first banished knight. Come on, give us a sword swing. I am flubbing these. Miserable. Alright, we'll just show off Lion's Claw. There we go. My goodness. There we go. Just flubbing parries today. Very tough fellow, especially if you come here early enough. Drops banished night creeps, meaning I didn't need to farm them earlier. Find a rusty key. Let's take a look at both of those. First, the rusty key. There it is. Rusted iron key opens a locked door in Stormvale Castle. Riveting. It doesn't even look like anything in particular. At least I don't see anything. Nope. Nada. Just a basic rusty key. And then, this banished knight. We fought knights kind of like him. And they were using, dragon fire incantations. They were ghostly apparitions we saw in the Stranded Graveyard, or the French Folk Hero's Grave is probably the real name of that dungeon I've been referencing, right? Let's look at his outfit. Thick, full set of armor covering the entire body, this helm was worn by knights who, whether by misfortune or misdeed, were forced to abandon their homes. These fierce warriors were each and all accomplished. Perhaps that is why, despite their territorial losses, they were still named knights. If we take a look at the helmet, in particular, it has a dragon on top. It's so very ornate. I like this helmet quite a bit. I wish I could get a version of this helmet without the dragon on top. That's just me. So dragon iconography associated with these fellows. They also have a curling horn growing out of one soldier. Oh my goodness. Shoulder? My gosh. So, oddly reminiscent of the Crucible. Not sure if they're actually linked to the Crucible or to the dragons, or if they're both linked. But at least a dragon. The horn could just be ornate, because it's only one horn. Very twisty, though. And it's very similar to the set of armor that Edgar the Castilian was wearing, except for he had a tabard, and he did not have a horn on that shoulder pad, or shoulder plate. No horn, but it was the same shape. Here we have a treasure chest. The curved sword talisman. Let's take a look at that. Talisman depicting a curved sword and a swordsman enhances guard counters. It is said that a blind swordsman was the originator of this technique, the art of allowing one's opponent to strike so as to leave them vulnerable to a well-timed reply. And if we look at the actual icon for this talisman, it looks like the warrior class we could have started as. That fellow with the blue, watery, flowing robes and the twin scimitars. There's even a scimitar in the icon. And so we know that they come from a tribe of folk that practice swinging their swords with flowing motions. And so this seems to be another snippet out of their culture. Can't wait till we find that armor set again so we can revisit that. I should probably switch my headpiece back. Yeah. So we showed off Lion's Claw. I don't think there's anything else we really need to show off. Not yet. Oh! His sword. He had a sword. And a shield. He had a sword and a shield. I meant to equip the shield, not this crossbow, right? Fancy shield. It looks like it's got script on it, actually. Behind the embossed imagery there. Could be a dragon on the top right-hand corner. Hard to tell. And I'm sinking into the floor for some reason. Probably due to its poor work. And we see that we have a very ornate sword here. And unlike other great swords, it has this nice flowing attack pattern. Looks like we know a little bit more about what we're doing, as opposed to the great sword, the Iron Great Sword, the Claymore, where you just kind of slam it into the ground haphazardly. Okay. So this is interesting. I think this is the first clear time we see something quite like this. Oh no! Oh no! I broke it. Oh, I didn't want to break that. Is there another one? There's got to be another one somewhere. Oh dear. I might have to reload this save and come back here. Somebody's throwing... Oh, there's another one there. Okay. So somebody's throwing fire. I don't want them to be doing that. I don't know where they are, though. They sound like they're above. It's you! You were gone! You died! I watched it! Okay. We didn't actually watch him die. Okay. So there's another one of them, gold reliefs I want to take a look at. So we're going to do so carefully. And with a glowstone. Goodness me. Okay, so there's one over here that's closed, but we want to look at the open one. And so if we look at it... Oh no, too close. There we go. So we see a tree, and there are most definitely figures in this tree, right? Doesn't mean a lot. Could be the Erd Tree. Another theory to support people growing out of the boughs of the Erd Tree, right? Another piece of information, not really proof, but circumstantial evidence. But it seems interesting that this is, there is an icon, a design you can see in the real world. What is it called? It's, excuse my tapping on the keyboard. Sorry about that pause. But there is a design called the Tree of Jesse. I feel like it has a different pronunciation for folks from the Old Testament times. It's like Yesher or something like that, the tree of Yesher. And it looks a lot like this. It's a real icon used in Judeo-Christian iconography. And it depicts a tree like this with all of the people growing out of the boughs like this. And I believe at the top is usually the Virgin Mary holding the Christ child, right? But we see there's something at the top here. It almost looks like a chalice. It's hard to make out, but still, more of these icon. Now, it could be directly ripped from our world, or it could have more symbolic significance. But seriously, what is the point of these? It almost feels like they were carted here and stored, and they were going to find a use for it, but never got around to it. Which, if this castle did belong to somebody else, like I suspect, that would make sense. Alright. Here we have a giant banner for the lion Serosh, counselor to the golden lineage. Find some throne daggers. More of these spear sentinels. Okay. Taking it a little bit too slow, but at the same time there's stuff to stare at, so we will go at the pace that is appropriate. I believe that phrase from earlier is Yasher, but I don't know if that's correct. It's killing me. My note didn't seem to have it. I must have it in a different note. There must be another point in time where I plan to talk about it. I probably plan to see it way later. Way, way later. Throwing pots. Fire bombs. Very rude. We have another thing to jump up to. Can't quite get there, but we can get over here. Good old lion's claw. Oh, I actually got the crit. I was afraid it was going to be too slow. It's just so flashy. How can you not use it? We'll use a different weapon now. Ooh, heavy. Don't need the shield as well. There we go. The brick hammer. Let's take a look at that. Brick hammer, weapon made from an ordinary stone brick wielded by a laborer who led a rebellion and later became a champion himself. Even among other bludgeons of its size, this weapon is especially weighty. The strength of a giant is required to wield it, and true enough, it needs 31 strength to wield, which is a large number. We might get there someday. I'm still trying to decide whether or not this character is going to be more of a dex intelligence or a strength intelligence. But in all honesty, I'm probably going to have to put points everywhere at some point, absolutely demolishing any semblance to a build in order to show off stuff, because we have lots of incantations that I'd like to show the casting of. Fellow here facing the wall. Gonna make his life miserable. Goodbye. Closer view of the Chapel of Anticipation. We just seem to be moving in and out of the castle while on still the outer edge, not quite in the castle proper. We're a lot closer though. So here we see another banished knight. I'm going to give away our position with this light, though I don't think he can actually see it. Executed. Okay. And he's dropping his helmet. But I wanted to take a look at his halberd, because we gathered one of those last time. We also saw those little guys wearing the using the weathered straight sword. So first, Banished Knight halberd. A finely crafted halberd, intricately engraved with an ancient motif, given to knights who, whether by misfortune or misdeed, were forced to abandon their homes. It looks like it has the same description as the other Banished Knight parts. This is a very nice looking halberd, very ornate. I love the yellow ribbon. Right. We're going to use an item here, our one soft cotton. I don't even remember if it's necessary here, but better safe than sorry, because there's a little ledge we can hop off of. More briars, lots of briars. We saw some briars on the Chapel of Anticipation. way back in episode 0. I never pointed it out then, but it seems interesting that whatever is afflicting this castle is also afflicting the chapel of anticipation. We find some arteria leaves. Withered straight sword. Straight sword with a rather short but wide blade. Simple to wield, it was known as the Sword of the People. Though the Erdtree styling is still visible, time has not been kind to this sword, now merely a shadow of its former self. And true enough, if we look at it, it's short, it's uneven, it's worn. It's one of the worst swords in the game. Mostly because of its length, honestly. Its base damage might even be passable. Scaling doesn't look impressive, though. Actually, its base damage looks rather low. Kind of like that of the short sword. But the short sword is such a handsome weapon, so simple. Oh, it also has the lunges. Oh, it's two-handed as a swipe, though. So we come up here. We see an elevator out of commission. There's an item over here to grab. Here we go. And we see leftover Banished Knight armor. Lots of it. A large amount. This seems more than just somebody pilfered this or has a couple knights working for them that, you know, were stolen from another culture since they seem to be banished from their homeland. Here we have these, they look like old war or old era style guns, cannons. They have a plunger. They seem to be in the shape of a dragon, so lots of dragon icons. Very old. More of those ballistas that we saw briefly at the front entrance. And a cozy waiting room. There's more of these mottled shields. Spears. I think we even saw a guy with a torch pole. Yeah, one of these earlier. Yeah. But cannot be raised overhead like other torches. It's just a worse spear. Scales with dex and strength. Can't be infused. Here we have a Sight of Grace. We're gonna sit down here and change out the spell since I keep forgetting. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Oh. Here's a thing I definitely wanted to show off. So Gravitas is fantastic for dealing with birds. Or anything flying, really. So see how he's flying? He's mean. If you Gravitas him, it breaks his posture instantly and knocks him on the ground, allowing a free hit. So Gravitas is fantastic for dealing with them and bats, things like that. They also, these birds here in particular, are perched over fire barrels, or explosive barrels. So if you shoot them with a fire arrow, they're gone. There's another one over there. And that just eliminates the difficulty of that whole exchange. I don't even think you have to have the stats to wield a short bow. I think as long as the arrow has fire on it, you will do just fine. Ignore that foreknowledge. Smithing stone. And these birds have blades on their feet. Kind of hard to see right here. Yeah, there we go. They seem to have their feet removed, and grafted in their place are blades. Specifically, the Warhawk Talon. Here's what it looks like. Very ornate. It looks like it's on a hinge, honestly. Which wouldn't be a good idea for a weapon for us. But Talon swords are affixed to the legs of Stormveil's Warhawks. But this one has been repurposed for human use. The blade is thin and lightweight so as to not obstruct the hawk's mobility. So it has a standard straight sword set, except for the heavy attack is this nice double hit. And before they nerfed Determination or Royal Knight's Resolve, the Ash of War, that gives you a bonus damage to your next hit within like 8 seconds. Both of these hits would get that effect, making it a very good choice for sword and board builds. Though sword and board is not so popular because shields are repeatedly get nerfed into the ground. What to use? Kind of want to use the axe again. Yeah, that sounds like fun. Do that. Big old weapon. Jumping off ledges. This is a little secret area. I didn't know about this for the longest time. I'd essentially beaten the game before I learned about this side area. Here we find the marred wooden shield. So like the leather shield, but wood. Yeah. Wooden shield of Stormvale soldiers, much like the castle. It's marred and modeled by... Oh, sorry. It is marred by modeling and thorns. And it says the same thing about the curse of grafting, which causes such affliction, while others talk of its root being something altogether more sinister, hidden deep within the castle. Probably won't get to that deep part within the castle today, but we will do our best. Ooh, we actually got the enemy. Storm Assault. I'm going to have to throw that on a weapon to show that off. That is a ability we may have seen the halberd guy use had we not rudely interrupted him. Here we have our best buddy in the whole wide world, another Crucible Knight. I don't know why I find these guys easier to parry than Vanish Knights. They're far more of a threat. Gonna bully this poor fool. I don't know why I jumped. Oh no, the lights went out. I turned up the brightness hoping to make this picture more clear, but it's still rather dark here. Just wanted to spin, man. And he gives us another aspect of the Crucible. This one, a horn instead of a tail. Inventory, right. So the final part is the same. This is a manifestation of the Erdtree's primal vital energies, an aspect of the primordial crucible where all life was once blended together. But this one creates a mighty horn on the caster's shoulder that gores foes from a low stance. Charging allows the caster to barrel into foes before delivering the final attack. So if you charge it, it goes farther, distance-wise. Okay, and now we have access to this elevator that we saw broken down earlier. Weirdly enough, I want to check on something. Go say hello to Gostock. I'm curious. Look, the blue screen has an symbol back there. I won't worry about that. That's probably too spoilery.
Oh, hello. Glad to see you're safe. I've come into some fine goods. Only it turns out I can't use a one of them. Perhaps you'd like to take them off my hands.
So he sells silver pickled fowlfoot, which you can use for item discovery. Very good. Kind of pricey, though. Very pricey, honestly. If you wanted to farm stuff here, I'd recommend just making your own, though. We may not have the recipe for that, actually, so maybe this is the earliest you can get it, conceivably. He sells the Castus, a fist weapon. We'll be grabbing those. He sells great arrows and ballista bolts. He sells the buckler, which has its own unique parry. And he sells the starting outfit for the bandit, which we will pick up. Stormhawk feathers. And he sells festering bloody fingers, which is that invasion item. Very strange that he'd have that. Feather from a hawk that lived as one with the storms. Material used for crafting items. These feathers, enveloped in swirling winds, are often used for arrow fletching. Okay. Here we go. Alright, I was just pulling up the next section of my notes. I don't have a whole lot of time here.
I pray for your success.
Okay. Alright. So we'll head back to the Rampart Tower. And next time, we are going to take the rooftop circuit. We're going to go over the rooftops of the Stormvale Castle and explore around that place. It's so weird. So I suppose if you just follow Gustok's invitation and head to the side without having him open the front gate, he will move to this location. You can chat him up. You can actually see him in various locations, but I think we scared him off, essentially. A hidden mechanic is that if you die while Gostok is in the area following you, he takes a portion of your runes. I'll probably have another character go through this and show the Gustok locations and his dialogue. Yeah, that's something I'll need to do. I'll probably slap that onto the final episode of Stormvale Castle, though we won't worry about that right now. But thanks for joining me today. I hope you had a good one. I'll see you later, and bye-bye.
Hey!